Welcome to Professionalism Today, Pandemics and a Lawyer's Virtual Life. I'm Avarita Hansen. This presentation includes a few course materials, including some slides, a complete list of references, and some documents and articles particularly relevant to professionalism and ethics in Georgia and under the pandemic situations as well as virtual practice. How did we get here? Did you ever think there would be a global health pandemic? Did you think about or have a practice plan for a pandemic? Were you taking care of yourself? Did you care about the legal and greater community? Were you ready to practice virtually? Will you try to go back to the old ways? In the COVID-19 pandemic environment and perhaps its aftermath, lawyers must operate in a virtual world that requires extensive use of technology. And lawyers must operate professionally and ethically. So today's three learning objectives are: first, professionalism requires lawyers to practice competently in the virtual environment. Two, to be professional, lawyers must take care of themselves. And three, professionalism requires that lawyers look out for others: colleagues, staff, clients, friends, neighbors, family, adversaries, and the public good and rule of law, while facing challenges in practice today and in the future. So we look at professionalism in Georgia. Georgia's Professionalism Guidelines come from the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism, founded in 1989. The mission of the Chief Justice's Commission on Professionalism is to support and encourage lawyers to exercise the highest levels of professional integrity in their relationships with their clients and other lawyers, the courts, and the public, and to fulfill their obligations to improve the law and the legal system and to ensure access to that system. Former Chief Justice Robert Benham would say that professionalism rests on four pillars: competence, civility, public and community service, and pro bono work to ensure access to justice. Professionalism is more than civility or being nice. Former Chief Justice Harold Clark said, ethics is a minimum standard which is required of all lawyers, while professionalism is a higher standard expected of all lawyers. To apply these tenets, the Commission set the standards in two short but enduring documents: A Lawyer's Creed and the Aspirational Statement on Professionalism. So as we look at how professionalism and ethics applies to today's pandemic conditions and virtual practice, we will look at those documents for guidance. Now, professionalism in a time of crisis like today is a challenge. Lawyers are first responders, and we should be prepared. So what does a lawyer do in the face of a global pandemic and other conditions such as structural racism, police brutality, and the stresses of American national and local elections that occurred in 2020? Well, let me give you some personal guidance. September 11th, 2003 was a sunny day. I was getting ready to go to work. The phone rang, my husband was on the line and asked me, "Do you have the TV on?" "Yes," I answered. I was watching the Today Show, live from New York City. I saw the video. A plane had run into a building of the World Trade Center. Within minutes, I saw the video of another plane actually running into another building of the World Trade Center. Within a few more minutes, I heard about the third plane incident in the nation's capital. I felt dizzy. I had just visited the World Trade Center area that August when I attended my high school reunion. Those streets were fresh in my mind. At that time, I was teaching law at Atlanta's John Marshall Law School and serving as associate dean. In fact, I had to teach a class that night. I called the law school dean. I asked him, had he seen what was going on a TV? He responded, yes. I asked, well, what do you think is going on? He said, "We are under attack." I went to work. It was Tuesday, and not many classes were scheduled for that night. Professors and students were asking whether classes would be canceled. The dean, a World War II veteran, emphatically said no, as if no and no one stops lawyers from doing our business, not even foreign or domestic terrorists. I went into my office, meditated, and prayed over the situation. I reviewed my notes for class, client interviewing, and counseling. I went to my students, some who were visibly shaken, but they showed up. What do you do in a crisis situation? My class focused on the roles of lawyering because this was a lawyering skills class. Think about it. In a crisis, most folks go to a doctor, lawyer, or clergy person. I reminded the class that lawyers are often first responders. We must be ready to protect and serve even when or if we are individually also under attack.